YouTube family, what's going on? James Green, Short Series Shenanigans. So, today, continuing on, more stuff for the bolt gun build. This is like a never-ending saga. It's like a never-ending story. So, and we've got mulberry and juniper blooming right now. So I guess that's what's got my nose irritated. So, what we got going on, and I did the video, or let's see which video, I'm trying to think so I don't spoil it. So there's a video out there that I did. Let's see, I'm trying to think, when is this one uploading? Alright, so this will be the Sunday shenanigans that you just saw on Sunday. Obviously this is before Sunday, so I'm trying to think, okay, I shot this when, and when did I do this? So, okay, in the Sunday shenanigans video, I showed you guys making the support for this action, and I'm unthreading it right now. Okay, so because we have to, what I talked about in another video was the box magazine for this does not match up evenly. Okay, because it has to mount squarely there. Okay, there's a little bit of an area you can see where it just, okay, right there, where I need to flatten it out just a little bit on each end here. And so, again, because this had an internal box magazine in the stock, this is an aftermarket, so anytime you do anything, see, this is where I laugh. This is where I laugh. Let me adjust the camera a little bit, get it down here. This is where I laugh. This is where, this is like traditional gunsmithing. You take things that aren't normally together and they're like bolts right in or easy to fit. Right. So anyway, so to keep from crushing, which, you know, like I've said before, you can get carried away. Anytime I do any work on any receiver, I was taught you build out of aluminum, will work, because you want to keep it round before you clamp it in to keep it cylindrical, because if you egg that out, you are screwed. The primary part that we want to keep from egging out is obviously the threaded area, but we fit it in all the way through what we call the round part. The tangs off to the side where the bolt wings are, the knobs, or the lugs, correction, I'm sorry, where the lugs go in. We're not too concerned about that. Now, when we set this in the vise, we're not going to, you know, come over here and put 5 million tons of force. So many times I see people get carried away of, well, if that tight is good, then a lot is better. Remember, we're holding this in a machinist vise. We're not going to be wailing on it with a 10-pound sledge. We're going to be using, you know, matter of fact, I'm going to use the same end mill here that I'm using. It's the indexable insert end mill, TPG, TPU style insert. And so, anyway, so we threaded it, turned it to dimensions, and that was just a piece of scrap aluminum I had laying around. I went ahead and centered on both ends. So if for some reason I ever have to put this, for whatever reason, I always think this is something I always do. So if I ever have to put this in some sort of holding fixture, okay, and I can come in with 2 bench centers, because I have bench centers that'll fit on this lathe, and I have them on, well, I had them for, they would fit on my little mini mill. So when that mini mill went away, those bench centers will still work. I actually had made, because those bench centers were actually for a full-size mill, so I had actually made little bitty small narrow items that would fit that other one, but these bench centers are actually for a full-size mill. So if I have to, for some reason, hold this in bench centers, that's why I put the little, you know. So we turned it, it's 20 threads per inch, like I forget what diameter, but it's a 20 thread per inch pitch, and it just slides in here and hand tight. Again, this is just so whenever you clamp it in the fixture and you leave it a little proud where you can get in there, you don't want to over tighten anything. That way you can see it holds. It's going to protect, and again, we're not going to over clamp on this, but we do want to keep the integrity of the threads. So before we can move on to do milling on this, because I had some at one time. I don't know where they went. So I happen to have a couple pieces of steel here. I'm going to make some step blocks that I need for doing receivers. I had some at one time. You know, it's like I spent about 15 minutes looking. I'm like, okay, never mind. I've got some chunks of steel that I had cut up, and they are approximately, it's just some cold roll steel. They're about 3/4 of an inch, and I got 2 of them here. So we're squaring off the ends, and then I'm going to machine them. Essentially, I'm making like 1, 2, 3 blocks, but they're not 1, 2, 3. They're just, there's no critical dimension. It's just I want some blocks that are even on all sides. So as I'm doing the setup on here, it'll be, you know, they're going to end up being approximately 2 1/8 inches long, and they're going to be about 1.5 inches high, and they're 3/4 of an inch thick. So I've already started on some end. I figured, hey, get you guys some good machining video footage here, kind of show you what we got going on. And I kind of like this angle back over here to the right hand side of the mill. That way I can move the camera. It's not over on the other side. The light is coming in from the back. See, I'm working on this. So here we go. Alright. And I know the light washes out really bad on the camera at times, depending on what it is. Especially that light. There we go. It just does. Try to get you guys down here so you get some footage of what's going on. So you can see. Whoop, get my viewfinder set there. Okay, so we haven't made any. I've already done this side, and I've dressed them, flipped them, so now we're going to come in and square these up. We'll come in here, touch off, all that good stuff. You know the drill. Touch. Alright. We'll take 30. Put a little dark cutting oil on there. Running in the background. Figured open the garage door a little bit, get some light in there, get the smoke out. Side is clear. Alright, we'll start on that side. We'll come up another 30. Pretty sure that's going to hit. And that'll be it. Getting there. No. Totally missed that one piece. Getting the other one. Okay. That's all good. Pretty aggressive feed across there. That LED light, boy, it sure shows up good on camera. Wash stuff. I really love these little indexable end mills. I really, really love this one. It really does the job for, you know, for doing facing stuff like this. Let's go ahead and drop another, come up another 30. Pardon the head. Come down this side. Pretty sure it's going to start hitting now. Yep. So we'll call that good. We'll get that cut and then we'll step over. Again, these blocks are just utilitarians because I want to be able to get it up a certain height, and I need some solid blocks, whereas normal parallels will not work for what I need. So these will fit the bill. They will do the job. Back the camera up so you guys can see what's going on here. Lots of super sharp edges. Make sure that that is smooth on those edges there, so when I go to set it in the vise, there's nothing that's going to trip it up from those edges. Now these other edges here I've got to deburr, but I'm going to do them separately. What I did on this vise here, because I've had people ask, because it had been chowdered, there's a word Tom Lipton always used, chowdered so much it was not any size, so I actually ended up taking like a SK socket here of a certain size, and I've got a couple of them. Why? Because it was handy, and I have about 5 of these sizes, and I actually drove it on there. And so all I got to do now is just you know, yeah, I could fix and build up, but you know what? This isn't that great a vise. I probably plan on changing it in the future. You know, I might rebuild that, who knows, but you know, I could do the weld up and turn down, but you know what? I've got so many other things going on right now, that's just going to have to go. So that was a quick fix for in the meantime, because it wasn't a metric, it wasn't a standard, it was just, it was junk. So, all right, let's go ahead, slap a little oil up here. And for those of you that are curious, this is the OTA dark cutting oil. You can get it at Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever. I like it for doing certain things. Otherwise, when I'm doing lots of heavy milling and cutting or drilling, I'll run flood coolant. But for this, it works great. Especially mild steel, stuff like this. Again, all I did was flip these over, so I didn't even raise the bed or anything. So, because I know these pieces are kind of rounded, because they were bandsaw cut. So we'll go ahead and let it run through at that height. Because you can see it's making a cleanup pass. It's actually doing pretty good. We still got to bring the Z up because I can see where it's missed some of it. Because those pieces were kind of rounded on the edges, so where they set on the parallels, it dropped down, it didn't read accurate. So that's why I chose to go ahead and go with the height that I already had, just kind of do a touch off and let's see where we're at. And you can see how much is actually cleaning up. So I'm pretty confident with one more pass, this is going to clean up 100%. Again, we're not going for any exact size or dimension. These are just general setup blocks. And I'm only going to come up 20 because I know all that'll clear up at 20. Pardon the head? Okay. And then we've still got to do both sides of the other blocks. Now I could bust out my big 3-inch face mill, but that's kind of overkill with these. This one works just fine. Yeah, you got to make a couple passes, but it does the job. Loving my power feed. Haven't had any issues with it. Doing great. Milling right along. Yeah, it rained all night last night, night before, yesterday, on and off all day. So yeah, lots of rain. Okay, get that stuff out of there. Get a quick blast of air. So we're gonna aggressively change our setup. Eyeballs. Something my dad used to always say, still does, when you're getting ready to do something. He'd say eyeballs, which meant cover your eyes, or ears, meant, you know, cover your ears, put your plugs in. Alright, so now that we have razor sharp edges, okay, what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to remove those edges. So I don't slice the... This is where you can get sliced really easy. And these are slick. You can see where I dike them on one end for... Yep, right there. See that? I dike them on there at one time for something. Okay, let's see. Because I have to get rid of that nastiness. Grab my old scraper. Could. Is that kind of, yeah. Just whittling. It doesn't take much. All that big nasty jagged stuff. That's what I'm looking for. That right there. And mild steel trims it pretty easy. And this side here. There we go. Alright, good enough for what we're doing. And we've blown out from back. As a matter of fact, we'll pull the parallels, wipe them down, just because we want to make sure our setup down the bottom is correct. Set that out of the way. I just have my little method that I go through. Method of the madness. Give a blast of air in there. Eyeballs. Alright, so we've got some 1 1/8" tall parallels in here, which will work fine for what we're doing. Okay, because I'm going to center these now that they are generally the same dimensions side to side. That one's not wanting to, and it could be the vise. Could be. Here, let's do the old Tom Lipton aluminum TIG rod trick. So we got us a piece of aluminum TIG rod handy. And where are the cutters when you need them? They're hiding. Alright. Okay. So slight differences. Too easy to fix. Again, these don't have to be ground to any specific dimension. Oh yeah. And we'll alright. Because all we're doing is facing operations, so that should suffice. Come over here. Drop our spindle down a little more. Looking pretty close. Drop 30, and there we go. And same thing when we flop over to the other side, before we make any adjustment in our Z or the quill, we will have to do a pass because there may be some differences in the tops and the edges. Normally when I do this stuff I have the garage door all the way open, but if I do, it'll wash everything out and you won't see anything, so. Maybe right now I should be playing like Smoke on the Water or something. By Deep Purple. There you go, that's a good song. Again, for what these are going to be doing, other than I've got to deburr the edges, and that's it. There's no critical dimension that these have to be, length, width, height. They're just general setup blocks. For doing machining purposes, that's all they are. We'll do a quick blast of air, remove any chips that probably fall down right next to the Alright, so yeah, the TIG rod trick, gotta love it. I know those have a bit of an edge right there. A bit of an edge. Quite a bit of an edge to be exact. Sharp as all get out. I'm going to deburr these really quick on this other vise. I'm not going to try and hold on to it and deburr it. because I really don't feel like slicing my fingers. There we go. That's a lot better. Oh yeah. And get this edge. That's what vices are handy for. Okay. So that one's deburred. All I gotta do is deburr this one real quick. Yeah, I learned a long time ago. Throw that stuff in a vise and put the vise hold onto it while you try to deburr it, especially if it's got cutting oil, because you will inevitably slip and slice your fingers, and it's not fun. And one more side there, because that's all mushroomed out right there. Okay. Alright, that'll do. We are deburred, and you can see these other sides. These are actually remnants from an old bumper I had on a pickup. A part on the side of the pickup where we used to have a big rigid 300 pipe vise used to sit. And so, after we did away with that pickup and kept the bumper, it slowly morphed and changed, and you always keep and recycle stuff. And because it was really thick steel, you know, 3/4 inch plate, I kept it and I slowly cut chunks off of it over the years. Okay, we didn't even change the height. We're just going to let it run. And you can see how it's dusting off right there. Again, these aren't exact, precise for any specific dimension. They're just general setup blocks. They're dusting off nicely. Okay, so I know generally, rather than making another pass down the other side, is I'll go ahead and as soon as this ends, I'll come up and we'll make another pass. Actually, I'll step over. And I'll come up 30. We'll come up 30, make a pass. And that'll work overall for what we need. Oh yeah, that'll work nicely. Making chips. Because I know you guys, some of you guys like to watch some machining action, so here you go, watching some mill work going on. Give you guys some good content. Again, nothing super exciting other than just kind of maybe show you guys this is how I do stuff. Everybody has a different way of doing it. So there you go. You know I keep my videos to 30 minutes. Sitting here in the shop, milling away. My public email address, eagledustoff37@gmail.com. Take care of yourself and take care of family, because remember, at the end of the day, you and your family's all you got. Click the like button down at the bottom, spread the word about my channel, and thanks for watching. And we're done cutting that piece. Have fun. You guys be safe. We'll talk to you later. Bye.